This topic will give an overview of the Electronic Flight Instrument System, EFIS. We will describe the system and study the system controls, display of flight and navigation data, and the alerts associated with the EFIS system. In the conclusion section of this topic, we will introduce the systems that supply data to EFIS for display. These systems are studied in detail in the other topics of this module.
The Fokker 100 has two electronic flight instrument systems, EFIS. The function of EFIS is to display flight and navigation data. This data is supplied from many aircraft systems.
Each system consists of two display units, a control panel, source select switches, and a remote light sensor. The flight and navigation data is displayed on two cathode ray tubes. These are arranged one above the other. The display color of the data indicates the type of information. Fixed scales are shown in white, pointers and indices in yellow. Selected values are presented in blue, and calculated data is indicated by its green color. Flags and warnings are displayed in amber. Primary flight data for control of the aircraft is shown on the Primary Flight Display, PFD. Primary flight data includes airspeed, altitude, vertical speed, aircraft attitude, flight mode annunciators for flying with AFCAS, radio altitude, localizer deviation, and glide slope deviation. Data for navigation of the aircraft is shown on the navigation display, ND. This data includes heading, selected course, deviation from selected course, slant angle distance to station, bearing to ADF stations, and wind velocity. Normally, the PFD is shown on the upper screen and the ND on the lower screen. However, the displays may be switched using the PFD ND transfer button. Transfer the PFD and ND displays. This may be needed for flight planning or if a tube fails. The EFIS control panel is used to make mode and range selections for the navigation display. Selections are made at the EFIS control panel for use by some flight and navigation systems. These will be looked at in detail later in the module. Normally, left side systems supply the left EFIS and right side systems supply the right EFIS. Many systems supplying the EFIS have a third alternative system as backup, which can be selected to supply either EFIS. An alternative system is selected using the appropriate Source Select button on the Source Select panel. The EFIS system, including the display units, is switched on at the EFIS control panel. Switch on the left side EFIS system. This knob is also used to control the brightness of the displays. Once set, the remote light sensor will automatically adjust the brightness of the displays as the ambient cockpit light changes. The navigation display can be shown in one of four modes: plan, map, arc, or rows. It is possible to switch between modes using the Mode Select knob at the EFIS control panel. The plan mode shows a 360 degrees north-up display centered on a waypoint selected at the FMS CDU. This includes a properly orientated aircraft symbol if within the range of the display. The active flight plan is shown by the white line. Select Map mode on the navigation display. The map mode displays 90 degrees of compass rose. This is a heading up display with a fixed aircraft symbol showing the flight plan within the range selected. Note that in this mode only, a back range can be selected to display 220 degrees of compass rose and a region behind the aircraft. The range of the display can be selected when in plan, arc, or map mode. Select a range of 60 nautical miles for display. Range lines are marked. Weather radar can be added to the display in map or arc modes only. Select Arc mode on the navigation display. The Arc mode presents 90 degrees of compass rose. This is a heading up display with a fixed aircraft symbol. ILS or VOR selected course is displayed with deviation. Select Rose mode on the navigation display. Rose mode provides a heading up 360-degree compass rose display with a fixed aircraft symbol. Selected course and deviation are displayed. The bearing to 2 ADF stations is also provided by the magenta and green pointers. Whenever data supplied to the EFIS is unreliable or a supply system has failed, the relevant information is removed from the display. A failed supply system is enunciated by an amber flag initially flashing. The failure is also enunciated by an alert message on the MFDU indicating that the EFIS display is incomplete. In some cases, a local fault light appears on the appropriate Source Select button. In many cases, an alternate supply system can be selected using a Source Select button. These selections will be dealt with in detail in the other topics in this module. The flight warning system compares data being displayed on the left and right side systems. If there is a significant difference between the data, then a compare warning is displayed on the MFDU and an alert presented. Note that the displays are not affected. The pilot must determine which is the affected source and make selections as appropriate. All these alerts are subject to alert inhibition. Heading disagreement is a Level 1 alert. Attitude disagreement is a Level 2 alert. Airspeed disagreement is a Level 2 alert. ILS disagreement is a Level 2 alert. Radio altitude disagreement is a Level 1 alert. An EFIS control panel failure is enunciated on the MFDU. This is a Level 1 alert and is subject to inhibition. In the case of a panel failure, the PFD and ND will continue to operate, but it will default to standard mode and range selections. The EFIS system displays flight and navigation data from many aircraft systems on the display units. An alternate backup source of data can be selected in some cases. The display units are cathode ray tubes. The displays may be switched between units. The PFD shows primary flight data for controlling the aircraft. The ND shows data for navigating the aircraft. This data can be displayed in one of 4 modes: plan, map, arc, or rose. The navigation display modes and ranges are controlled from the EFIS control panel. Other selections are made at the panel. We will look at these in detail later in the module. EFIS system faults are enunciated by flags on the displays and alert messages on the MFDU. In the other topics of this module, we will study the systems that supply the EFIS system. This will include learning about the air data system. We will examine the inertial reference system and the display of attitude and navigation information. The radio altimeter is studied along with decision height selection and the associated enunciations. In another topic, the method of selecting and displaying radio navigation aids will be considered. This topic will include detailed descriptions of the navigation systems employed in the aircraft. Whether radar will be considered. This will involve a system description and an explanation of the display format. The ground proximity warning system is included in this module. It is closely linked to radio altitude and many of the primary flight systems. The cathode ray tubes and other instrumentation generate a lot of heat. In order to prevent component damage, the avionics panels are cooled. This system and the emergency backup are studied later. The module concludes with a brief summary of the EFIS system and the associated flight and navigation systems.